Once again, welcome to another episode on Sports Takeoff. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to take a look at every pair of shoes that OBJ wore this season. If you didn't know, this season Nike created a different pair for each game for warm-ups for him. And then in a couple games, he also had to switch throughout. So in each game, we got about 2 to 3 pair of shoes that we need to look at. So we'll take a look at all of them. Want to see how you all feel about these shoes and tell me what you think. Some of them are pretty creative. Some of them I think, I don't know if I would ever wear that, but leave a comment, let us know what you like. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and we'll get more videos to you about this. But either way, let's get straight into it. Let's go.
So the week 1 pregame cleats were inspired by the Nike Air YEEZY 2s. They're his original OBJs, but they had the Air YEEZY palette to them. Of course, for the game, they have to switch into team colors, so he switched into the all-orange Nike Vapor Untouchable Pro 3 up-tempos. This is the first time he rocked the Richard Mille watch, $350,000 on his wrist. Week 2 versus the Jets, he came out with another pair inspired by the Fresh Prince. What do you think Will Smith thought about these cleats? Other than that, it was another game with the $2.2 million Richard Mille on OBJ's wrist. Headed into the game, he had to switch, of course, to team colors, and this time they were inspired by Michael Jordan himself. These are called the Shattered Backboards with the Browns colorway. Game 3 paid homage to the Nike Air Foamposites, the Galaxy Edition from 2012. Then at game time, he came out with the orange iridescents. They're all orange, had a metallic finish on the lettering, and for me, one of the best pair that he came out in this year. Then game 4, he came out in the brown iridescents, similar to the orange, but had the gold metallic with the brown background. I don't know about for you all, but for me, the lettering on these are definitely what brings the cleats out. This iridescent lettering, the shiny metallic, definitely brings and makes it one of the dopest cleats that he has out right now. Then at halftime, he switches into the Travis Scott inspired cleat, a collaborative that Nike and Travis Scott had on a pair of Air Jordan 1s. You can look those up, and they look very similar. Week 3 paid homage to Sean Witherspoon, one of the most famous sneakerheads and designers of one of the original 97 Air Maxes. Then for Game 5 versus the 49ers, he came out in a pair named ATMOS. These featured an array of animal prints across the entire upper and also had a logo of his own placed on the tongue. During this game, he also had the matching animal print on the sleeve and the gloves that he rocked. Headed into Game 6 versus Seattle, Nike draws inspiration from the old Nike Air Force One, the Week collection. A very big up to Nike for the actual matching gloves and sleeves that he rocked during pregame as well. Headed into game time, he switched into another patent leather pair with the shattered backboard look. This was another week with another Richard Mille. This watch caused a lot of talk throughout the season. Pre-game of Game 7 versus the Patriots, this pair was nicknamed the Savage Beast. This pair he actually ended up giving to Tom Brady after the game. According to OBJ, this pair was actually made of real goat hair. Then this game against the Patriots, he pulled out the jack-o'-lantern shoes. It's a couple days before Halloween, so of course these are fitting. Then the next game versus the Denver Broncos, they are actually playing a couple days after Halloween, so of course we got some more Halloween-themed shoes. We got the 2 pair of JOCKER Customs. The first pair was a purple pair that he wore during warm-ups, and then we came up with the white pair that he wore during the first half of the game. But of course, the NFL, made him take them off as they are not so fun anymore. And came out with some all black OBJs. Really dope if you ask me for the second half. Now as we're heading into Game 9 versus the Buffalo Bills, during warm-ups, he have the up-tempos that are based off some Nike Air Fear of God 1s And then as we head into game time, he switches into a pair to pay homage to, of course, the one and only King of Cleveland, LeBron James. These cleats were inspired by LeBron's first signature pair, the Nike Air Zoom Generation. Week 10 versus the Steelers in pregame, he actually came out with the pair that were actually going to be released at the start of the game, and they were released and sold out instantly. I guess that's what you call the OBJ effect. And for game time, he came out with the black pair with the iridescent letters on it as well. Like I mentioned before, still one of my favorites. This seemed to go very well with the uniform that game. Headed into game 11 versus the Miami Dolphins, we have another pair inspired by the Air Zoom Generation with the South Beach colorway. As we head into the game, he switched it up again, and this time we got the black and white camos. Had a little brown hues to them, but it got OBJ into the end zone, so I guess we'll consider that a plus. Going into Pittsburgh for week 12, and for the second week in a row, we got a pair inspired by LeBron. These are inspired by the LeBron 9 PS Elites, once again in the South Beach colorway. Of course, heading into game time, we got a all black pair with the white Nike check on the toe. Definitely a simple but very dope pair. Week 13 versus the Bengals, we definitely got one of the most interesting pair. One of the NFL's initiative, the My Cause My Cleats. This one was inspired by the Berea Animal Rescue Friends. Just take a look. Tell me what you think. In the comments, I'm really interested in what people thought about this pair here. Headed into game time, he switched into the orange, brown, and iridescent for a simple but fire up-tempo cleat. Week 14 versus the Cardinals, he came out with the gold and purple, not only to honor LSU, but also to honor his favorite NBA team, the LA Lakers. And at game time, he came out with the unknown model. A lot of people are assuming it's the new model for Nike this year, the Nike Vapor Edge, but we will still have to wait and see. Warm up for game 15 versus the Baltimore Ravens, he came out with this Grinch-inspired up-tempo cleat. As we moved into game time, he switched into a regular pair of black and white up tempos, but they were black and white with the stripes, which is a little different than anything we've seen so far. For the third pair of that game, he switched to another pair of YEEZYs inspired by Kanye West himself. And for the last game of the season, he came out in pregame in a pair of gold Foamposites, bringing a basketball original to the field. And headed into game time, he switched into another pair of the shattered backboard inspired cleats. These are inspired by Jordan himself with the typical up-tempo colorway.
So, what do you think? That was about 40 pair of shoes in about 16 games. Like I mentioned, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 pair. Like I said, it was some dope pairs. Write in the comments, let me know what your favorite pair was. Eventually, I'll probably come out with my top 5, so stay tuned.